So I'm going to do this a little different. I don't like stages, and I don't like holding mics. So can everyone hear me? You good? All right, cool. All right, so we've got 30 minutes. I've got my timekeeper up here, so I'm going to go pretty quick. I just gave this presentation about 3 weeks ago in Chicago at the Federal Reserve because they want to understand how small businesses, particularly women and minority businesses, can use technology to leverage or remain competitive. So I've got 2 gift cards. First question, what is the significance of the date in front of you? January 1st, 1983. What is the significance of that date?
Your birthday.
Not my birthday.
The internet.
Yes, close. So January 1st, 1983, there was a big decision that took place. That was the day that scientists and engineers around the world agreed upon the standard protocol to create what we now call the internet. Now that protocol has been around for decades, but it was kind of patchwork at the time. But it was that day when they all decided that this is going to be the standard to build the internet on, the backbone of the internet on. That was a very significant decision, right? Because the internet has changed a lot about today. The advent of the internet has caused this. Well, before I go there, how about this day? What's the significance of this day? August 11th, 1994, Dan Kahn. What took place? We just talked about the internet was developed. I've got a Starbucks gift card for who can guess. No? No, not Google. Google wasn't until 1996. No? No one likes Starbucks. Okay, so August 11th, 1994 was the day that the first transaction took place over the internet. Dan Kahn, a 21-year-old entrepreneur in the Northwest, sold what to his friend in Philadelphia? He was in Massachusetts. He sold what to his friend in Philadelphia for $13? A CD. Bruce Springsteen CD. According to Fast Company, that was the first product sold, shipped, and paid for on the backbone of what we call the internet. Now, since then, this has taken place. Right? You can watch movies. You can connect with friends. You can sell stuff. You can listen to music. You can even book a trip and store all of your data on the internet. This is the significance of what has taken place since January 1st of the early 80s. But we can break the internet up into 2 lives. What do you all see that's significant about these companies? What is in common? What do they have in common? We're businesses in here, right? There are 2 types of businesses. B to what and B to what? B to B and B to C. What are these? B to C. The first half of the life of the internet was about this, B to C. It was about commerce, us purchasing and us selling stuff. You're probably, up until maybe 2006, this was almost 100% of what the internet was about. All right? But that was a shift. And today we want to talk about that shift. Today we want to talk about automate and repeat. How do you use software as a small business or any business to become more effective and remain competitive in what you do? This is today's topic. Why MWBEs should adopt the cloud or SaaS technology. When I say SaaS, software as a service. To increase your revenues, grow your company, and expand whatever you do. So we talked about the B2B, B2C, right? And I said that was a shift. Now we have these. B2B. So now you can send email, you can manage your sales, you can track emails. I'm going to come back to this slide because there's some things up there I'm going to go into detail about. But you have all of this. This is all B2B here. All right, so since no one answered the first two questions, I'm going to ask one more because I still got these gift cards. What's the most powerful company that's on this slide right now in terms of your business? If you utilize it. What did you say? Say it again. LinkedIn. Absolutely. LinkedIn is probably the most powerful B2B technology out there that we have at our disposal, and it's free. We'll talk about that later on. I'm actually doing a workshop on that for the Spring Hill Chamber of Commerce in 2 months on different ways you can utilize LinkedIn and grow your business. So we got B2B, we got B2C. So if the internet is what it is, if the internet is this platform that has allowed us to purchase stuff, has allowed us to sell stuff, it's also allowed us as companies to communicate more efficiently, to track data. Leslie talked about optimization. That's what it's allowed us to do. I said earlier, my goal today here is to convince you that you need to utilize more internet technologies to run your business. So here are 3 stats that hopefully, if you get them, you'll decide to do that. So 25%, these are stats based on a Microsoft survey that they did about 2 years ago. And they found out that 25% of companies, or companies who adopt internet technologies to run their business, do 2 things. They double their profits, and they realize a 25% increase in revenue. The second thing that they found out was that apps, everyone has a smartphone, right? Who doesn't? My dad doesn't, so I know there are some people who don't. My dad does not. But they also found out that apps, these things on our hip, have saved companies on average 725 million work hours a year just from using a mobile app. And then the third thing, they found out that companies that adopt the cloud, what I call the boogeyman, reduce their workload by 42%. So who in here actually runs their company through the cloud right now, or uses cloud technology to run their entire company? Anyone? The entire company is run on the cloud. Anyone else? Hand back there? Okay. Okay. I do too. And I'll get to you the reason why I do later on. But here are 3 reasons why you should really consider adopting the cloud, using internet technologies to run your business. You can't really argue with this. But the reality is, less than 40% of small businesses use internet the way that they should, or SaaS technologies, to run their business. So what's the reason behind that? There's a problem. Here are 2 reasons. 37% believe they don't need it, and then 22% are just resistant to change. They just believe that the way that they currently do it is the best way to do it. So it was mentioned earlier in my intro that I have a software company called Sagents. We work with Fortune 2000 companies, and we help them track how much money they do with women and minority-owned businesses. We automate that for them. You would be surprised at how many Fortune 2000 companies still use Excel. Not Cracker Barrel, because they use us, their client. But you would be surprised at how many Fortune 2000 companies still use Excel to track that data. You would think, with all of the research and money that they have at their disposal, they'd be using something different. Less than 20% of them actually automate that one task, and that's something they have to report every quarter. They're just resistant to change. They believe that doing it the current way that they're doing it is the best way to do it. So I can understand that if they believe that, why small businesses believe that also. So here's another reason why those numbers are what they are. Look at that, 1.1 billion websites, over 2.8 million apps in the App Store, 2.8 million in the Apple Store, and over 205 billion emails sent a day. With those type of numbers, it's very easy to understand why small businesses do not adopt technology to run their business. It's information overload. The first thing we do when we need something is what? We Google it. And what happens when we Google it? I do have one more left. So what happens when we Google something? We get a ton of recommendations, and we really don't get any recommendations on what's best for us, right? So we get answers, but we don't know what's best for us. And so because of that, a lot of individuals, a lot of companies just say, forget it. I don't know what's best for me. You've given me 100 different options. I don't understand either one of them. And if I do adopt one, I really don't understand how to onboard to get my team or my company into it in a rhythm or use it to optimize what I'm doing. So these are just 3 reasons why. There are many more, but these are just 3 reasons why we don't adopt technology. Now I'm going to use myself as an example. Anyone who knows me knows that I like automation. So now we're going to get into the meat of what I want to talk about, the different technologies you should use to run your company. Anyone who knows me knows I like automation. So how many parents do we have in the room? All right, so the parents understand this analogy. So 8 years ago, I had my first child, and if you're a parent, you know that after so many months, you look up and it's like, wow, we haven't had any time with just the 2 of us. What's going on? We need to figure this out. And so I believe in solving the problem by answering 3 questions. 1, identifying the problem. 2, identifying the widget to fix the problem. And then 3, becoming proficient in that widget. So for me, what was my problem? Time with my wife. I identified the problem. Then I had to answer the second question to automate this. Not automate time with my wife. That's impossible. But y'all know what I'm saying. 2, what did I have to do if I wanted to get more time with my wife? Find a babysitter. And then 3, what did I have to do with that babysitter? Pay her. But even go deeper, what I ended up doing was I found a babysitter and I went to her and said, hey, would you every second Saturday of the month come to my house from 1 to 10 o'clock every single month? That way it took the guesswork out of what I needed to do to spend more time with my wife. So now for the last 5 years, every second Saturday, we know for 9 hours, she's coming over and we're out the house. We just automated. I took the guesswork out of it. It wasn't technology, but you get where I'm going. We like that so much, we also now do it every 4th Wednesday of the month. We have a babysitter come over for 3 hours and we're out. These are the type of things you can do to optimize what you want to do, how you want to do it. But we're talking about technology today. So that was then, this is now. We still go to networking events, but now we got Facebook and LinkedIn. If you're not a doctor, you shouldn't have one of those. I don't even know if they even still make them. Everything that we read now is on the internet, and now we got blogs instead of newspapers. So if you're not digitizing your business, guess what? You'll soon be out of business, because this is the world that we live in today. The now is the world that we live in today. So you're probably asking, where do you start? 3 questions you got to ask yourself. I just talked about them. Identify the issue. Identify an app that can help you solve the issue. And then implement and become proficient in that technology. But there are a lot of different apps out there, right? So we're going to get into some of them. You do what I call create your domino effect. Identify the number 1 issue that you have that you believe can help you increase, grow your business, and remain competitive. For me, it's sales. Start with 1. For me, I got to figure out how to fill my funnel, the top of my funnel. How do I get more prospects in the top of my funnel so that I can go out and close and get more business? Really, the funnel should probably be the number 1 issue for everybody. How do you get more prospects? So prospecting is where I start. The technology that I use is reply.io. Anyone else in here use that? Has anyone heard of it? You use it? A little bit? All right, so reply.io is an email automation platform, not email marketing, email automation. What's the difference? Email marketing is when it's a beautiful campaign, someone sends you a bunch of pictures about a product or service or just the company logo and all of that. This right here is me sending you an email just like I'm sitting in front of my computer. As I'm standing in front of you right now, this software is sending out, I have it sending out 200 emails a day on my behalf to prospects. The reason why I use this software, It's because I want to get in front of as many prospects as possible so that when they reply, my sales team can go out and potentially close the deal. So every prospect that's getting an email from me right now, every 30 seconds, they don't know I'm standing in front of you. And the email that they're getting looks like an email that I've just sent from my inbox. We call it sequencing. I won't go into detail because we don't have a lot of time. But here's how my technology stack looks when I use reply. So the first thing that happens, email goes out through reply. Victor gets an email. It tells him to go to my website. He goes to my website. He gives me his email address through MailMunch. MailMunch will then send his information to Typeform. He gets a survey. He answers the questions in that survey to help me qualify him as an actual lead from a prospect. If he's qualified, he then goes into my blog campaign through MailChimp. And then I get an email at the very end to say, Victor is a qualified lead. You need to reach out to him. Now, that's 5 or 6 platforms that I use. I only have to check one of them, and that's my email. I don't log into any of that. All I do is wait for an email to come through to tell me that Victor is now a qualified lead based on how he answered the survey through Typeform, and I reach out to him in whatever mechanism he wants me to. But this is how part of my sales tech stack looks. These are the type of technologies that I encourage small businesses to start using to grow their company. So I use 23 apps on a monthly basis, or my company does. We pay about $168 per month. Of the 23 apps, I really only pay for 4. The other 19 are free. So most of the apps that I encourage you to use, they have a free version. You don't have to pay for it. They all have most of them have a free version. And the biggest one for me is Reply.io. It costs me about $75 a month of the 168. All right, so let's get into other apps because I've got, about 5 minutes? All right, so here's the slide I really want to get to. I want to go through some of these apps and tell you all what they do. I'm not endorsing these. I'm not telling you to use these because they all got competitors. But let's just look at some. I'm going to start with the 2 that most people get a kick out of. So the circle, the green circle with the Y, Yesware. Anyone use Yesware? So Yesware is an email tracking software. So I plug it on, it lays on top of my email client, which is Gmail. I send Victor an email with a sales proposal in it. It'll let me know when he opened it. It'll let me know if he didn't open it. If he did open it, and I have a proposal in there, it'll let me know if he opened the proposal. If he opened the proposal, it tells me what pages in the proposal he looked at. Yeah. Why is that great? That's good information for me, though. Because if I send you a proposal and you look at the pricing page, you look at the entire proposal for 20 minutes and you spend 15 minutes on the pricing page. When I follow up with my call, I'm going to spend most of my time answering questions about price, and I can prepare for it. It allows you to schedule emails, to go out at a certain day or time, and a lot of other things. The other one people kind of freak out about is this X right here, X.AI. The name says it all, AI. All right, so who's ever gotten into a back and forth where someone emails someone and you say, hey, let's get together for lunch. Then y'all go back and forth, trying to figure out the day and the time and the place. I don't do that. I use 2 apps to do that for me, 1 or 2. I either use X.AI or I use Calendly. X.AI is exactly what it says. Now Victor emails me. Let's get together for lunch. I'm going to reply, copy Susie. Susie, find the time for us. Susie is not a person. Susie is technology. She can communicate with Victor in the exact same manner that I can. He would never know his software. She would go back and forth with you until y'all find a day and time. Then she will put it on my calendar and send you a calendar invite to put it on your calendar. At the end of the week, she sends me a summary of everything that she's working on for me and everything that was not able to get scheduled. I call her Susie. You can name her whatever you want to. Like when you set up your account, you can give her whatever name you want to, or him. Or I use Calendly, yes. If he what? They can communicate with each other. Yeah. If he has Susie too, they communicate with each other. Yep. Yep. I either do that or I use Calendly. Calendly, a lot of people probably use that. Calendly is where you send someone a link. They can look at your calendar. You can tell Calendly what availability you have, and then they can put something on your schedule. So I don't go back and forth anymore. Who wants to build an app for their company? Anyone? For you, Bubble.io is a piece of software that writes software. So you tell it what function you want it to do, and it'll write the software for you. It was developed for non-coders to be able to build their own app. That's what Bubble.io is. Upwork, who hires freelancers? All right, so Upwork, if you're looking for freelancers across the globe, Upwork is the spot for you. I have a team in India that I've been working with for 4 years now, that helped me increase my margins on certain jobs, what was 20% to almost 90%. And I've been working with them, so you can find whatever you want on there. Entreport, email automation. Who does that? Anyone do email automation? Entreport is a good platform for that. All right, the last two. Who gets a lot of emails they don't want to get? All right, Unroll.me. Have y'all heard of that? All right, Unroll.me. You go in there, you put your email address in, it'll go out, it'll find everything you're subscribed to. You tell it which ones you want it to unsubscribe you to, it'll take you off. All right, y'all get that? And then Truebill, who has a lot of subscriptions that they pay for, like Netflix and all of that, and you can't track them. Truebill does the same thing as Unroll. Put your email in, and it'll go out and identify everywhere where you have a paid subscription so you can start tracking them. And they're free. Everything I just mentioned to y'all up here is free. I don't pay for any of these apps. Can't go through them all because we only have 1 minute, right? All right, so here's what I want y'all to do. If you want this presentation or a list of these apps that I just put up here, text Sales Cocktail to that number. Yet again, I'm using technology. Text Sales Cocktail to that number, and it'll automatically send you the list of technologies I put up here. If you want to contact me, there it is. All right, so my time is up. I had to go pretty quick, but I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak. Hopefully, you saw something you can use. And I didn't get to tell you the story behind me with the cops, but this is the reason why I ended up with my whole business in the cloud. There's a story behind that, which is how I usually end it. So I won't go into the story. I don't have time to go into the story. So I want to, but I don't have time to go into the story. So, all right.
Thank you so much, man. That was great.